Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Spice. Today we are at the next topic, that is we are discussing a game study, looking at a game where we will see how one side exploits his extra development and how he thinks about the position, how he gets about it. Also it's a game of Morra Gambit getting transposed into Alapin Sicilian. Very interesting case. Let's get started and reach the main position. E4, C5, D4. C takes D4, C3, and here as it happens, black can decline the gambit with D5 or NF6. Both lead us to different lines of C3 Sicilian, that is the Alapin Sicilian. So after the moves E4, C5, C3, NF6, E5, we get very much this kind of position, NF6, E5 and D5. And here after D4, CD, we have this position when we start from a C3 Sicilian move order. Here I generally go NF3. The main point is DC cannot be taken and white wants to play in a gambit style, then he should use this move order to NC6 or E6 to both leaders. BC4 attacks the knight, knight B6, BB3 and DC NC3. This way white sacrifices a pawn for more space and better development. So this line is very interesting, not played at GM level. Black players won't take this pawn. See, knight will settle on E4, BG5, castle and some kingside attack is very likely. In my game, opponent played D6 and this happens to be the main line. After ED, they can go E6 or direct QD6, both are possible. My opponent went QD6 and here C takes D4. White gets an isolated queen pawn, the IQB, and the knight will be placed on C3. Bishop chooses between D3 and C4. Usually black goes E6, this is the main line. My opponent played BG4. I considered it as mixing of two lines where BG4 is played, black often plays D5 and this position is a bit different. We can say black is roughly level though. So I just played BE2 because BD3 can cause some damage on D4 after NC6. So NC6, NC3 and now see NC3, BC will support the D pawn, white's bishop will open, rook gets the open file. Good position for white. Here black could actually play E6. According to me, E6, castle and maybe queen C7 or even queen D8 would have been okay. But the opponent chooses a very strange move, knight F4. He wants to be aggressive, wants to be the attacker. Attacks G2, threatens on E2, knight E2 is a small threat. So if I take knight E2, there will be BF3. Of course, I didn't hesitate much to play BF4. I already realized NF4 is a mistake. See, the development white has are already 3 plus the center pawn. Half move is his now. Black has also 4 developments. But after the exchange of bishop for knight, so as per the rule, exchange followed by consequent development means after the trade of the move, white has the move and white can use his center, right? And here D5. And now white is becoming clearly better in most lines because the knight moves BB5 check would be dangerous or queen A4 in some cases. Opponent went knight E5 and here do try to calculate white to play. What would you do as white? Of course black is threatening NF3 and BF3. So my first candidate move was to take on E5. So after takes, if bishop E2 then queen E2, knight gets supported. So queen takes E5 force and I simply thought we will get chance to use BB5 check, but right now the bishop is pinned, queen A4 check, BD7, BB5 would also be good, but there is the pin still, so just let's castle and make it a threat now. So BE2 would be forced. So what black has done here is all his active pieces got traded for white's not so active pieces, and what remains on the board matters. And see, D5 pawn is strong, queen A4 check is coming, knight will jump to D4, C3 or F4. Rooks are basically coordinated. And this position I consider as almost winning for white. My opponent went rook D8 because see, queen A4 is a threat. I thought maybe he can do A6. A6, one interesting line is QB3, queen takes E2, QB7, rook D8, QC6 check, RD7. And maybe then go rook C1. I am not very sure whether it's winning, and if we don't want to sack, then we can just move the knight to C3 take the knight to a4, c5 like that. That is also a good position. Opponent went rook d8, but here I think now white is winning. Just queen a4 check, rook d7. What would you play as white? Not a difficult move to spot. Just rook c1. Now see threat is rc8 mate. e6 is very bad. e6, rc8, ke7, qb4 check. f8 would fall perhaps. So qb8, but qb8 I think loses by force. I found the move nd4. Good move I felt, because now see I am having two ideas in mind. One is nb5, knight heading to c7, and second is the surprise element, not nc6, because bc, dc, maybe rook c7, maybe black can survive, but see what's the threat we will see. After a6 stopping nb5, I had seen knight e6. This is game over. Now see after f takes e, d, the rook is lost, and after b5 which my opponent played, I went queen a6. And now see it's game over, opponent resigned. I think anticipating that rook c8 is there to fe6, but see I would have won after fe with d, when see rook d8 loses to qc6 on the spot. Any other rook move allows rook c8, so rook c7 force, and see takes and mate in three moves. q8, qd8, qc6, qd7, qd7 would follow. So my opponent resigned after queen takes a6. I thought I would like to share this game because we are doing the topic of Morra Gambit, and we have done some examples of Alapin Sicilian. So this is a game where we see both the themes conjoining. Do let me know how you found this lesson in the comments below. Thanks for your time.